Okay, in a previous video, we looked at setting up and connecting to an SQLite database. So in this video, we're going to look at saving data to the database now. So we have a method stub already set up for save entry, and so this is connected in our storyboard to the save button. So the save button is connected to our save entry method. So when we tap this button, we want it to get the information from the systolic, diastolic, and comments text fields in addition to the current date information, and then save that into our SQLite database. So in the View Controller M file, I'm just going to take this and move it to the top, move it a little higher above here so it'll be easier to see rather than having it all squished in at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to get the values from the text fields. We have our systolic, and we're going to set that equal to the systolic text. And since that's text, but we want this to be an integer, we have to convert it to an integer, so we're just going to use the int value method. And we're really going to do the same thing for diastolic, so I'm going to copy this, put it in, and then just change these. And we're going to get the information out of the comments, so this is going to be an NS string called comments, and that's going to be equal to the comments text field. And we also need a date object in order to get the current date and time, and that's going to be our primary key. So we're going to say ns date, and we'll just call it the date is equal to ns date, and this will get us the current date. So now that we've collected this information that we need in order to put into our database, we can structure an SQL query and then add that into our database. So we're going to create a string that is going to contain our SQL query. So we'll say ns string, and we're just going to call it SQL, and that's going to be equal to an ns string, and it will be a string with format. And what we do here is our string is actually our SQL statement. So we'll say insert into summary. This is the information, the name of the fields in the database. So we'll call it the date, systolic, diastolic, and comments. And then we have the values that we want to put in. And we're going to put in a series of placeholders. So just general text. Then we have a number value, another number value, and then some more text for our comments. And the pieces that we're putting in there are our variables from up here. So we have the date, systolic, diastolic, and comments. Okay, then the next thing we need, well, before that, I can see I have one too many square brackets there, so that should fix that. Still missing something in here. Let's see. Double quote here. Okay, that looks better. All right, next we need a character. I'm just going to call it error for our error message. And we're going to say if SQLite3 execute, and then we have, this will be the name of our database, so this is going to be our DB. We have our SQL statement, but we have to convert that to a UTF-8 string or a C string, so we're going to say UTF-8 string. And we're not going to have any callbacks, so this is null. Our character error message is error. And if it doesn't execute, if we have a problem, so if it's not equal to SQLite OK, then we're going to close the database because there's no sense in keeping it open if there's a problem. And we're going to put in an assert, and we'll say a message could not update table. And we can add on an else, and we'll do an nslog statement that says table updated. And then we'll know, we'll have a little message down here that'll show us that that worked. All right, let me just do a build and see what happens if everything is working. I do have a typo here. Now with the new version of Xcode on iOS 6, before when you would use the assistant editor, we would click and drag to create our connections. It would automatically synthesize our properties for us, but it doesn't do that anymore. So now I have to come in and synthesize our different properties. So we have systolic text and diastolic text, comments text. I think that's it for now. So we'll try building this again. Okay, good, no issues. So that seemed to have cleared that part up. And then the last thing we're going to have it do when we create the record, we're going to have it go in and clear out the text so that it doesn't stay in there and it looks like it's been entered from the user's point of view. And we'll do that for all 3 fields. Okay, the next thing will be to test this out and add some data. So I'm going to run this in the simulator and see if we're able to successfully add data. So I'm going to put in 100 over 70. That's a low BP day. So we'll say just got up and save. So it says table updated. So we'll add another one. We'll say after coffee and save. And it says table updated again. So far it looks like it's saving this information. So next video we'll look at how to show our history so that when we come over here we'll have a table that will grab the data from the database and show it in a table view.